Assalamualaikum to Dr. Alia. My name is Nur Farhana binti Jafri, and today we are from Group 4. We present to you about our research proposal, which is tourist motivation to visit Pahang National Park. For the introduction, national parks around the world have been recognized as important tourism and recreational resources to local people and also a foreign tourists. Malaysia also has owned its national park, for example Pahang National Park and others, that is more than 30 in all, whether on land or sea. For the information, Pahang National Park was established in 1938 and 1939 as the King George V National Park and was changed the name to the Pahang National Park after the independence year. In this research, we seek to study about the tourist motivation to visit Pahang National Park, so that travel motivation can be considered one of the most important psychological influences on tourist behavior. Motivation is the internal state of a person or a person's specific needs and desire which forces them to act or behave in a certain way, and this maintain human behavior and the level of the human body.
Next, I will present about research problem. First, problem statement of this research is travel factors strengthen the positive relationship between the tourist motivation. From this research, we want to identify the main motivation of tourists come to Pahang National Park. By conducting research on tourist motivation can help travel manager to identify the service needed for tourists and then plan in promoting national parks and activity effectively. The second statement of problem is in promoting Pahang National Park as an attractive tourist destination is very important for researchers to know the demographic profile of domestic and international tourists. This is because with the average number of tourists, we can identify the number of local tourists and foreign tourists who come to visit.
Research question and research objective. Research question. First is what is the motivation of tourists to visit Pahang National Park? And the second question is what is the demographic of tourists who visited Pahang National Park? Then for the research objective for this assignment is to identify the motivation factor that influence tourists to visit Pahang National Park.
Next is justification for the research. In this research, we seek to study about the motivation of tourists to visit Pahang National Park. There are many factors that encourage and motivate tourists to visit Pahang National Park, such as nature, family and socialization, escape attraction, and also a photography. This research is important because nowadays natural environment become more popular destination among tourists around the world. Other than that, this research is important because tourists become the main key in the economic growth around the world. Lastly, it can help other researchers that want to do research about nature environment, for example, national park, and they will take it as their reference.
For literature review, motivation is the process that initiates and guides someone behavior. It is also causes someone to act and also includes the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive process for someone behavior. The theory of Maslow is one of the most common theory that have been used to explain the tourist travel behavior and also help travelers to clarify variety types of motivation. Maslow hierarchy used 5 set of motive, that is psychological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, and also self-actualization. There are multiple factors that motivate tourists and travelers to visit a specific place or destination, and those factors can be categorized as push factors and pull factors. Push factors is the factors that inspire the individual traveler to go on holiday. According to this, the push variable consists of 7 socio-psychological motive and 2 cultural motive. Pull factors refers to those that lead an individual to select one destination over another destination once the decisions on travel has been made. Pull factor influence when, where, and how people travel, as those arise as a result of the destination attractiveness as seen by the travelers. Pull factors are related to external, contextual, or cognitive aspects such as the destination characteristic, leisure facilities, and cultural or natural characteristic. As we can see, this is our conceptual framework. There are 6 motivation or independent variable, that is nature, activity, family and socialization, escape, attraction, and photography. while for our dependent variable, that is tourist motivation.
Next, I present about the contribution of research. Based on this study, one of the contributions that can benefit the national park tourism industry is to help hotel and resort operator in further improving the level of accommodation facility and service provided by tourists. Based on the tourist motivation factor, the accommodation management can find out how to provide accommodation based on the needs of tourists. So what are the accommodation package that can be provided, whether it is private, family or large group? Because every tourist has a different opinion on the demand and supply, that is their motivation. Apart from that, the contribution in the study can also help the government in developing the tourism industry through the promotion of visiting Pahang National Park more widely. Through various advertising program in social media and portal can explain about the food, custom and culture found in Pahang National Park. Pahang National Park has various privileges to be a tourist attraction, such as having its forest rich in various species of flora and fauna, mountainous terrain and natural hill, plus with a beautiful scenery such as river, cave, natural waterfall and unique Aboriginal community life in the jungle, so tourists can feel good experience in appreciating Pahang National Park.
The limitation of the study are those characteristics of design or methodology that impact or influence the interpretation of the findings from our research. There are two major limitations in this research, which is problem with the sample and not sufficient sample size. First limitation is problem with the sample. Sampling fallacy happens when the non-probability sampling technique is used to pick out a sample, but the sample failed to represent the general population. The existence of the limitation known as sample bias. The need for the future studies to determine the target population and sampling framework. Second limitation is not sufficient sample size. It is important to have an adequate sample size to obtain proper research results. The larger the sample, the further accurate the results received. If the sample size is too small, it is hard to point out the data. Typically, we need a larger sample to representative a general population. Future studies need to understand how to select the suitable sample size before conducting research. Methodology is a specific procedure or technique used to identify, select, process and analyze information about a topic. In this research, we use quantitative research, which is questionnaire, as our survey method. The questionnaire was distributed online to be filled by 32 respondents. The questionnaire is divided into 3 sections, namely Part A, Part B and Part C. The data was collected in the month of November and was presented in English. Non-probability sampling technique were used in this study. Non-probability sampling is easier to do with collaborative respondents. Questionnaire conduct using non-probability sampling were used as instrument to collect data. Convenience sampling is probably the simplest sampling technique, as participants are selected based on availability and willingness to participate. Beneficial result can be obtained, but the result tend to be significantly biased, as the opinion of those who volunteer may differ from those who choose not to participate. That is called voluntary bias.
This is our research plan and table that shows the timeline of all activities, including the progress of our report. As you can see, on week 3, we decide the research title, and then we do the introduction, research questions and objective on week 4 until week 5. Then we develop the research justifications on week 5 until week 6. And then after that, on week 6 and 7, we do the literature review and the theoretical framework. After that, we write the research contributions together with the limitations on week 7, and then we write the methodology start from week 8 until week 9, and then on week 10 we do the research plan and table and do the references, citation and appendix. And the last one, that is, we submit our report on week 11.
This is a list of references we get for internet sources. This reference help us in completing the assignment. For the appendix, we provide an example of a questionnaire. This questionnaire is about the tourist motivation to visit Pahang National Park. This questionnaire consists of 3 parts, which is Part A, Part B and Part C. That's all from us. Thank you.